Welcome, good afternoon, and welcome to the Salvation Army of Metro Atlanta's virtual Doing the Most Good Luncheon. I love that, doing the most good. Hello to you. I'm Fred Blankenship, anchor for WSB-TV Channel 2 Action News, and your very thankful host for today. Glad to be here, and thank you so much for joining us. 2020, perfect vision. Well, in 2020, so much about our communities came into perfect focus. 2020 revealed our fears: financial insecurity, evictions, homelessness, poverty, racism. But 2020 also revealed hope, H-O-P-E, the generous giving, the outpouring of love, L-O-V-E, the support, the communities coming together, donations higher than ever. Now this year, the purpose and the mission of the Salvation Army came into perfect focus. The need for their services became clearer than ever. Now over the next 20 minutes, you're going to see how they are meeting the challenges and responding to urgent needs in our community during this pandemic. You are going to be inspired. You are going to be encouraged. And you're going to be even more hopeful about, that's right, where we go from here. But first, let's hear from Salvation Army of Metro Atlanta Area Commanders Major Bob and Captain Kathy Parker.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Salvation Army Metro Atlanta's virtual 2020 Doing the Most Good Luncheon. Last year this time we were gathered here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta to celebrate individuals and volunteers and corporate and nonprofit partners who help us fulfill our mission of doing the most good to the most vulnerable communities across this great city.
What a difference a year makes. In March, COVID-19 moved into our communities, shutting down businesses, closing schools, and cutting off access to vital resources for the most vulnerable in our communities. But the Salvation Army of Metro Atlanta immediately sprang into action and adapted our services to immediately meet these critical needs. We began providing at-home and drive-through food deliveries for those needing food pantry assistance. We provided 24/7 sheltering in place for those facing homelessness at our Red Shield Services and Adult Rehabilitation Center in Atlanta. And we provided increased financial emergency assistance for those dealing with job loss or facing evictions. Since March, the Salvation Army of Metro Atlanta has provided more than 51,000 nights of shelter and nearly 500,000 pounds of food to our neighbors. That's enough to fill every seat in this stadium almost 8 times.
7 months later, COVID-19 is still with us, and the number of people in our communities needing help continues to grow. An unprecedented number of people in Metro Atlanta are facing housing insecurity and potential evictions. According to Feeding America, food insecurity has increased in nearly every county in Metro Atlanta since mid-March. Tens of thousands of children throughout Metro Atlanta and their parents are struggling to stay on top of their schoolwork through digital learning, and many of them lack the technology or access to internet that are required for them to be successful. But thanks to donations from individuals and our corporate and nonprofit partners, the Salvation Army of Metro Atlanta is continuing to meet these needs. Thanks to funding from the CARES Act and supporters from partners like Georgia Power, we are able to provide emergency financial assistance to residents in need. Through partnerships with several Metro Atlanta area school systems and counties, we are continuing to provide meals to youth and their families. Our 3 metro area Boys and Girls Clubs have reopened, and we're providing services to a smaller number of youth so that we can continue to comply with social distancing recommendations. To supplement these services, Boys and Girls Club staff are continuing to provide academic assistance virtually to our students.
While we can't know what the future holds, we know with full confidence who holds our future. Psalm 9:18 says, "But God will never forget the needy. The hope of the afflicted will never perish." For 130 years, the Salvation Army of Metro Atlanta has continued to adapt its services to meet the needs of our city's most vulnerable citizens. As we continue to mold our services to the needs surrounding Atlanta, we do so with the mindset that hope really is greater than fear.
Over the next 20 minutes, we're going to show you how the Salvation Army has and continues to bring hope to our communities over the course of this pandemic. But first, a message from Tom Summers, Chairman of the Salvation Army Metro Atlanta Advisory Board.
Over the last 8 years, I've had the privilege to be able to serve on the finance team, the property committee. I've served as board treasurer, and in September began a term as advisory board chairman. I have seen firsthand how Salvation Army gives hope to individuals by being able to minister to a full range of needs, being able to look at our clients in a more holistic fashion. They've taught me so much personally also. I've been able to understand how better to minister to people, to look past the circumstances and look to the need. As I close, I want to thank each of you, our donors, for making all of the work that Salvation Army does possible through your contributions and support. Thank you to our community partners who also provide support for us. And I would just like to leave you with this. If I had to summarize what Salvation Army is all about, it is, with God's help, there is no story that cannot be changed or redeemed. That's what they are about. And I ask you to join us in helping the Salvation Army fulfill their goals and commission of helping others who are in the most need. Thank you.
Please join us in prayer. And now, Lord, we pray that you continue to bless the Salvation Army and those who help us provide food, financial assistance, clothing, shelter, as well as an encouraging word, a drink of water, or even a friendly smile. Father, bless the individuals as well as our corporate and nonprofit partners as they've helped us and continue to help us do the most good in and around Metro Atlanta. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Now please sit back, relax, and enjoy. And thank you for partnering with us in our mission of doing the most good.
"2020, it has changed the way we work. Trust me, here at Channel 2, it has changed the way we work, the way our kids learn. Trust me, as a father of 3, and so much more about our lives. For the Salvation Army of Metro Atlanta, it's also changed the way much needed services are delivered to our most vulnerable neighbors. Take a look.
Most of them have lost their job. They were working. I was speaking to one lady who, as she was explaining her situation, talking about her expenses and what her income was, I'm amazed that she was able to make it before COVID. But she was just she paid so much attention to their situation and pinched every penny, living paycheck to paycheck. But she was always able to provide for herself and her family. But with COVID, she worked in a restaurant, she lost her job. That restaurant still has yet to open. But she was so excited to tell me last week that she has gotten another job. And so she's looking forward to being able to provide for her family again. But most of these folks are just people who, before COVID, they were you and me. They had their home, they had a job, they were able to provide for themselves. And so for the first time in many of their lives, they're having to figure out, where do we turn to? How do we get our bills paid? And we're thankful that here at the International Corps in Doraville, we finally have some resources and we're able to start helping them meet those needs. Every day we're getting easily 30 phone calls of folks calling that need help with their light bill or their rent. And the rent is the huge thing right now. A lot of the folks that we deal with, though, don't qualify for unemployment. And so when they lost their job, they lost everything. And so for them to get caught up, it's going to be an ongoing situation. We've seen a continued increase for our food pantry. Our numbers have more than doubled. Now, during the highest point of COVID at the beginning when we were sheltering in place, our numbers more than quadrupled. There is a huge need there, and we're just thankful that we are now able to help meet that need.
This is the way that now we do our food pantry, because since COVID, we cannot allow a bunch of people coming. When we go out in a week, every day to feed the people, this is our last stop after we carry the food and everything, and we get the boxes of food, water, whatever we need for the community, and then we load it in the buses, because our canteen don't have a lot of room because it's a small canteen. What we do is we just put it in the buses and do the distribution. This is Major Burden here that we are getting ready for go out. We have pasta, ground beef today, so a good menu. What else we have, Major? We have
ground beef, we have spaghetti, noodles, we also have Chick-fil-A, we also have biscuits for them, and green beans and corn mix. So they're going to get a great lunch and dinner today.
Three months ago, I was like, for the past 35 years, I've been in my addiction, right? Alcohol and drugs. And it just got to the point where several times within that 35 years, I always tried to stop, but I never could on my own. You know, I told myself, like you hear with many addicts, we tried to stop, but you know, we couldn't. So, but about 3 months ago, I made up in my mind that was it. I was done. You know, but I said that many times before, but this time it just was different. And so when I contacted Salvation Army and I came here, I started learning different things, and I started learning what the program was really about, what the 12 steps was really about, as not just being able to recite the 12 steps, but also working the steps. And I didn't have a clue. I didn't know that you had to work the steps. I thought it was just being able to recite the steps. Thanks to the spiritual counseling I receive here, the case management, the clinical treatment I receive here from the clinical director, all that have played a major role in my recovery. And so now, you know, I graduated this past Friday from the program. And after being here, you know, I've learned coping skills. I've learned things I'm 55 now. And so I learned some things here in this program at Salvation Army that in 55 years, I didn't even know about myself. What I came to find out is that after being here, I learned that I was wrong. I quickly learned that. Within a week that I was here, quickly learned that I was wrong about what I was thinking. The staff here does care. Some of them even know exactly what my journey, what I went through. And so this program has just been wonderful for me. And I've learned quite a bit. And you know, it's still a long journey ahead. I mean, actually, the journey is just starting now that I've graduated the program, because the real test is when I walk out that gate. That's when the real test will begin. But the tools that this program gives me, you know, is preparing me for when I do walk out that gate, which is gonna be real soon. I wish I would have known about Salvation Army alone, the Red Shield service a long time ago. I'm so serious. Here I am, 55 years old, and it's truly amazing what the Salvation Army can do for a person.
The Salvation Army could not provide services without the generosity of our amazing, dedicated community partners. And here are a few words from today's $25,000 Red Shield sponsors. By the way, without sponsors, this stuff could not happen. Thank you very much. Atlanta-based UPS and Genuine Parts Company.
The UPS Foundation's mission is to aid communities in need and build their resilience for the future. through humanitarian relief efforts, by protecting our environments through global reforestation, with programs that ensure road safety, and by supporting diversity and inclusion. We are determined to make a positive impact in everything we do, and with every dollar we invest, ensuring that volunteering and giving back remains firmly rooted in our culture, so all people have a chance to thrive and prosper. The UPS Foundation strives to create new possibilities and remains committed to doing more.
We are Genuine Parts Company, and we are committed to our mission. An organization with a proven record of doing the right thing. A company with a history of caring. We are Genuine Parts Company, and we are committed to our mission. Be the employer of choice. Be the supplier of choice. Be a valued and preferred customer. Be an investment of choice for our shareholders. And be a respected business community member, leading the way and giving back.
It is the call heard from parents throughout Atlanta between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. each day. Help! Save us from virtual learning. Actually, a big shout out to a lot of the parents out there and teachers and kids doing a great job, but it's work. And for the first time ever, many metro area schools are mostly online, creating challenges for teachers, students, and yes, the parents alike. And they have an ally in the Salvation Army of Metro Atlanta, which is working to ensure that this generation of learners succeeds.
We changed from an after-school program to being open during the daytime while the kids are in school. Many of our children didn't have internet access at home. Many of our children did not have computers at home. So now they can come to the Salvation Army Boys and Girls Clubs, and they can do those things. And we're not just limiting it to students who live locally. We're serving students who live in Atlanta and attend Atlanta Public Schools, who attend Fulton County Public Schools. We have some from Cobb County Public Schools, and we have some from DeKalb County Public Schools.
We knew that neighborhoods like this were going to be heavily impacted by COVID, and this is one of the areas they're most heavily impacted. The achievement gap in low-income neighborhoods is only going to widen during COVID, and we knew that we needed to try to help this. In addition, we have a lot of neighbors who don't have internet access or don't have the ability to keep an adult at home to keep kids on task. And so what we were really afraid of is this neighborhood losing a generation of learners during this time.
We try to keep it at no more than 10 children per program space, which allows us to execute our plan safely. And each child has a specific assigned learning station. And they log in and get ready for virtual learning. The staff is there to take the temperatures. The staff is there to make sure that everything is placed in the correct position. And the staff is also providing assistance in case a child needs help logging on or there's something that they don't understand. Some of our parents who are hard-working parents who are facing some very hard choices, kids are in virtual school. You still have to work. You don't want to leave your child home alone, but you still have to work to pay the bills. And so the Salvation Army comes into play. Hey, we want to meet your need for those parents who have these needs. And one parent, sent us a message saying that for the first time since March, she's able to go to work and feel comfortable and not have to worry about, I'm working, my children are home alone. Now the children have a safe place to go so the parents feel comforted. In order to operate a building, operate a Boys and Girls Club during this time, the budget increases because you have to take certain safety procedures, you have to plan for more staff hours, you have to plan for more staff to be in the building because the kids have to be spread out. So from a Salvation Army standpoint, we are looking at, okay, how are we going to maintain being able to keep this going? Because we've been doing it since March and we haven't wavered from it. From the children's standpoint, you're looking at situations that are coming up for those children who are in need. There's still food shortages, then we hope to be able to provide meals for children who aren't able to come to the Boys and Girls Club. There are children who are still facing technology needs. Most kids have a Chromebook, some don't. Some who we could use some additional Chromebooks at the Boys and Girls Clubs to help us out to make sure that every child has an assigned Chromebook, because some children, they have a computer that may not work well, they bring it. You may have some children who have even been trying to access it via phone. And so that's not ideal, because there's certain apps, there's certain things that you cannot do on a phone that you can do on a computer or a Chromebook.
Kids in the building bring the energy level, the noise, the joy, little feet running in the hall. It all brings smile to our face. My facilities manager is walking around singing again. I had forgotten that he used to sing during the day, but now he's walking through the halls whistling, singing again.
The Salvation Army's mission statement is to provide human needs without discrimination. Now, this year, as racial justice surged into the headlines, the Salvation Army took action.
God was always concerned about people being marginalized and oppressed. Jesus is eating with tax collectors and sinners. He's always finding those places where people have been sort of written off by what we might consider the church. And I think the Salvation Army has always been that place where you don't have to be part of a church. Like you are a person who's created in God's image, and we want to be with you. We want to get in relationship with you. And then we want to tell you about this Savior who comes and meets at the table with us. Stephanie Johnson, who is a person of color, who works as a volunteer in our youth programming, let me know about this group in Atlanta that was trying to unite for racial equality. And it's, yeah, sign me up, da-da-da. And so I started getting the emails. But in my world, one email, and even those ongoing emails, sort of like, you know what, I got more pressing, more important things to do. That's a nice thing to do. That's a great thing to do, but I've got things that I have to do. And so it quickly got shuffled to the bottom of my pile until Ahmaud Arbery. I got in touch with those who were part of the One Race movement and saw that they were planning this Juneteenth celebration. As the area command, we were trying to figure out how do we respond.
It didn't matter what denomination you were, what church you went to. It was just beautiful to see everybody there worshiping together and to encourage each other to say, hey, the church is here to step up and be a part of this fight.
I don't know that I've seen any event since I've been here in Atlanta 7 years where the Metro Atlanta Area Command, its officers, its employees, its soldiers got together on anything and did it as well as I think we did that day. Being able to just stand there and hand out water and lift the flags of the Salvation Army that say blood and fire, and that color as they're marching in front of the Capitol.
I always felt like the Salvation Army was home for me, and a lot of people that grew up with me that looked a lot like me felt the same way. And then when we see things and we see these headlines and we hear about these shootings, a lot of times you turn to the people you know the best and try to figure out what's the next move or how to operate. And one of the things that I turned to was like, let me see what my family is talking about. And my family, not only my actual real family, but the Salvation Army that I felt is my family. I turned to see, what are we saying? What are we doing? How do we move forward? Because it's an opportunity for us to help somebody.
It was a marvelous sight to be reminded that this is the Salvation Army that I signed up for. This is the Salvation Army that wasn't just doing church as normal or running a few programs, but it was getting out into the community to look to see where there are opportunities of injustice and what we can do to participate in solving those issues.
are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you.
I came to the Salvation Army 144 days ago. That's actually my clean time. Unfortunately, I had been using the whole time before I knew I was coming into the program. I had a rough time in the beginning, accepting the fact that I did have a problem and that I needed help. I have been using drugs and alcohol for 34 years, and I'm only 51. Way over half my life. And I'm just so thankful for the Harbor Light program because I was living under a bridge, living in a tent, and I was in an abusive relationship. I would drink and smoke more and more and more, trying to relieve the physical pain as well as the pain in my heart. I was totally broken. And I came here and they just embraced me. Let me know that I was gonna be okay. I was safe here. And I really felt safe. It's just, it's an awesome feeling to be loved. And you know that you're loved because you can feel the love here. But this is not just a shelter. It's my home right now. And this is my family now. I am so happy, so blessed to be here. I really am. I really, really am. It makes me not miss my family so much. Because they kind of threw me away after so many relapses and going through me and my addiction. They're not addicts, so they don't understand what it's like. So me coming here and people just like me, people here just like me, they understand.
Christmas is just 56 days away, if you can believe that. It's going to be here before you know it. We have a little less than 2 months to sow hope in someone else's life this year. Now, each November and December, you see the bell ringers out there for the Salvation Army of Metro Atlanta around this amazing city, standing next to red kettles and ringing bells for a great cause. Now, all the money collected in those kettles is used to fund life-saving programs throughout Atlanta, provide meals for hungry individuals and families, provide safe shelter from the streets, give youth, the kids, a safe place to play and learn after school, and help survivors of human trafficking rebuild their lives. But this year, because of COVID, the streets will be quieter. There will be fewer kettles, and thousands of people right here in Metro Atlanta need help. Help the Salvation Army of Metro Atlanta rescue Christmas. That's right. Our goal is to rescue the holidays for those in need. Click on that red button right there on your screen to give a one-time or make a regular monthly donation. Just $25 can provide a hot meal for a family of 4. It can provide a night of warm shelter for someone out there on the street. It can give much needed hope in the midst of fear. Give today. Click on the button right there on your screen, or guess what you can do? You can visit SalvationArmyAtlanta.org to make your wonderful donation. And if you pass the Salvation Army Red Kettle in the coming weeks and months, consider making a donation there too. That's right, you can do it. You can donate straight from your mobile phone as well, using Apple Pay or Google Pay. Look, It's 2020. Technology is here. You can do it. Whatever you do, please give. The Bible tells us in Hebrews chapter 11 that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. As we close today's program, I ask that you look beyond the headlines and see the hope that is very much alive in our community. Hope provided and inspired by the Salvation Army of Metro Atlanta. I love it. I'm Fred Blankenship, anchor for WSB-TV, Channel 2 Action News. And thank you for joining us. And thank you for helping the Salvation Army rescue Christmas for our neighbors this year. Merry Christmas.